Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling one of the hardest questions we face as humans. Why does God allow suffering, especially when it feels like He's not answering our prayers? Many of you have shared your stories battling cancer, chronic illness, or the loss of loved ones. You've prayed, begged, and cried out to God, but the healing didn't come. And now, you're left wondering, where is God in all of this? Why hasn't He answered me? Some have even renounced God because of their pain. If that's you, I want you to know, your feelings are valid, and you're not alone. But I also want to offer you a perspective that might bring hope even in the midst of your suffering. Let's talk about why suffering exists, how free will plays a role, and why eternity changes everything. Let's start by acknowledging the pain. When you're facing a terminal illness like cancer or watching a loved one suffer, it's easy to feel abandoned by God. You've prayed for healing, for relief, for a miracle, but the answer seems to be silence. Even Jesus, in His darkest moment, cried out in Matthew 27 verse 46, my God, why have you forsaken me?" If Jesus, the Son of God, felt this way, it's okay for you to feel it too. But here's the truth. God hasn't abandoned you. Even when it feels like He's silent, He's still there. Psalm 34 verse 18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Your pain doesn't mean God doesn't care. It means He's walking through it with you. Now, let's talk about why suffering exists in the first place. The Bible tells us that suffering entered the world through sin, through humanity's misuse of free will. In Genesis 3, after Adam and Eve sinned, God said, "Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat food from it all the days of your life. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground." Because of sin, the world is broken. And that brokenness affects all of us, sometimes through our own choices, and sometimes through the choices of others. Think about COVID-19. Millions of innocent people lost their lives because of a virus that spread across the globe. Was that God's fault? No. It was the result of a broken world. But even in the midst of that suffering, God is still at work. Sometimes, suffering is a direct result of our own choices. Maybe it's a lifestyle we led in the past, smoking, drinking, or neglecting our health, and now we're facing the consequences. Galatians 6 verse 7 says, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." But here's the good news. Even when our suffering is a result of our own actions, God still offers us grace and redemption. He doesn't abandon us in our pain. Instead, He uses it to draw us closer to Him. Here's the truth that changes everything. This life is short compared to eternity. The suffering we face here, whether it's cancer, illness, or loss, is temporary. But eternity is forever. Revelation 21 verse 4 gives us a glimpse of what's to come. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. When we focus only on this life, it's easy to feel hopeless. But when we shift our perspective to eternity, we realize that our suffering has a purpose. It's preparing us for something far greater. So, how should we respond to suffering? Here are 3 ways to find hope in the midst of pain. 1. Trust God's plan. Even when we don't understand, we can trust that God is working all things for our good, as explained in Romans 8, verse 28. 2. Focus on eternity. Remember that this life is just a blink compared to eternity. Keep your eyes on the promise of heaven. 3. Use your pain to help others. God comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. If you've renounced God because of your suffering, I want to speak directly to you. God hasn't given up on you. In Luke 15, Jesus tells the story of the prodigal son, a young man who turned his back on his father but was welcomed back with open arms. No matter how far you've walked away, God is waiting for you to come home. Your pain doesn't disqualify you from His love. In fact, it's an opportunity to experience His grace in a deeper way. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Now, it's your turn to reflect. Here are 3 questions to help you process what we've discussed. 1. Where do you feel God's silence in your life? Take some time to honestly share your feelings with God. He can handle your questions and your pain. 2. How can you shift your focus from this life to eternity? What practical steps can you take to remind yourself of God's promises for the future? 3. Who can you comfort with the comfort you've received? Think about someone in your life who's walking through a hard time. How can you share God's love with them? Friends, suffering is hard, but it's not the end of the story. This life is short, but eternity is forever. And in that eternity, God promises to wipe away every tear and make all things new. If this video encouraged you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And let me know in the comments, how has God met you in your suffering? Thanks for watching, and remember, even in the darkest moments, God is with you. See you next time.